Good afternoon, everybody. So let's do a little Ron Paul spiel here again. Uh, I'm sure you've read the wonderful news that Mitt Romney has clinched the nomination. Uh, Anyone that knows anything about it knows that's not true. As somebody was posting earlier today on Twitter, yes, Romney people, go home and relax. Stop attacking Ron Paul because you've won. Go home. And don't worry about those, state convention things because those are just stupid and useless. Where the delegates are actually picked. Uh, the Associated Press estimates delegate counts. They don't have a real delegate count. Nobody really has a real delegate count until Tampa. Um, my only thing is that I would want normal people to ask, why is the GOP still fighting so hard if, as of last night, Romney has clinched the nomination? Why? Ask yourself that. Why? Could it be because they know they have not? They have not. They do not have the numbers yet. They have not. Now, I'm going to read a little bit. So this is kind of like a scripted thing, this part, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Okay? Okay. Most of us know the delegate count is nothing but pure estimation. My strongest advice to most people is to use the real 2012 delegatecount.com. It contains the most accurate count of seated delegates. The issue with media telling you who your candidate is that they're playing wrong. There are still a vast number of delegates to be seated, and the hard truth is you won't actually know who is voting for who until the Tampa convention. First of all, let's consider the first thing. We are a republic. Yes, we do not live in a democracy. We never have and we never will. The founding fathers detested democracy. A democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49. That is Thomas Jefferson. Here's a good one from Winston Churchill. The best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. Democracy cries for mob rule, where a majority can overrun the minority. This is why we have a delegate system. Delegates have a right to vote for whomever they prefer, regardless of public vote. Often this is called voting your conscience. It is why we do not have a simple popular vote system in this country. Consider this. The Massachusetts delegation is all Paul supporters, mostly. Okay, that's his home state. Currently, the delegation is being threatened by the GOP by sending affidavits, filing lawsuits, saying they must vote for Romney or face fines and penalties. Um, Again, my first problem with that is, why worry about that? If you've already won, why are you worried about that? Now, I'm going to take an aside here because each state GOP does have their own rules. And some of that is a likely scenario by state rules. But, and it's a big but, the national GOP specifically calls for all delegates to be unbound and to be able to vote their conscience. The funny story here is this was actually done back in 08 because someone refused to vote for McCain and wanted to vote for Romney. And he was allowed to do so under these rules. Tables turned, anybody? There's also other lawsuits going on demanding that Paul delegates be seated and not have to sign these affidavits. I'm going to read you a little bit of information from the actual GOP legal team. Jennifer Sheehan, legal counsel for the RNC, plainly stated in a letter to Nancy Lord, Utah National Committee woman, several weeks before the convention. The RNC does not recognize a state's binding of national delegate, but considers each delegate a free agent who can vote for whomever they choose. That is from the GOP's own legal. This is one of the rules from the Republican Party. No delegate or alternate shall be bound by any attempt of any state or congressional district to impose the unit rule. Intimidation, threats, or corrosion, you know what I mean, No person, whether acting under the color of law or otherwise, shall intimidate, threaten, coerce, or attempt to intimidate, threaten, or coerce any other person for the purpose of interfering with the right of such other person to vote or to vote as he may choose, or of causing such another, and this is for president, vice president, member of Senate, member of House of Representatives, delegates or commissioners from the territories or possessions at any general, special, or primary election held solely in part or for the purpose of selecting or electing any such candidate. That's actually in the Voting Rights Act. So, uh, keep in mind when you're viewing unofficial delegate counts, one must consider all of the above that I just told you. One must remember that Paul holds large delegate numbers that the official count will not include. They are simply, in most cases, just dividing delegates by popular vote or assuming the status quo of delegates going to the winner of the primary as a unit. This simply is not happening in real time. Paul is stacking the delegate deck, and he has been. So let's look at Texas, because I'm from here. Last I read, this changes because everybody has a different estimate. I believe they're giving 88 of the 144 delegates to Romney, and the rest for Paul. I can tell you personally, from being a delegate, from working in the Ron Paul groups, as much as I have, this is not the case. I can promise you that the delegate count from Texas will not be a Romney majority. I can promise you that. We are very well organized. We know what we're doing. Now, I can't guarantee you for sure because our convention is not till next week. But there's a lot of stuff in the works, and I think we're going to have some pretty strong people going to Tampa that are not going to vote for Romney. Another point to always consider is the delegates freed up that are still yet to be determined. There are 212 delegates now left over from Gingrich and Santorum. These do not automatically go to Romney. They still are very involved. Not saying those are Ron Paul supporters, but it doesn't also mean it's going straight on over to Romney either. So as Paul has said, this is my thing. He will not drop out until the delegates are seated and counted, or if Romney reaches that magic number. The number for real, not an estimated number. All in all, there are still simply too many openings or loopholes still left for things to happen. Now, in reality, I'm not a man of wide-eyed wonder. I know that Romney will still probably get the nod. Maybe not, and that's not 100%, and it won't be. And I'm not going to ever say that. But all that being said, and in the end, should Paul drop out or should not win it, he has already attained his goals. The party has now been forced to view itself in reality as hypocrites. If they truly want to remain relevant, then it is time to actually follow their own party platform of less government. It is time to get out of the social issues business. It is time to rein in an out-of-control federal government. Regardless of the outcome, the party will have to embrace the libertarian wing. The hard-right Christian wing is falling apart. Just as they swept in the 80s, pushing the libertarians into the fray when they used to be more mainstream, the motion is now in reverse. Paul's people have taken control of almost all of the state GOP camps. It will now filter up to the national level in the next 2 to 4 years. It's not as trying to destroy a party or cause commotion as the GOP will have it look in mainstream media. It's simply the party shifting back to what it once was. The hard right will not go without a fight. And in all honesty, they'll never go away. Just as the hard left will never leave the Democratic Party. But they will lose their majority, and I say it's about time they do lose that majority. I've read a lot today since I originally wrote most of that information. I read a board. It was a local Texas board, and there were, of course, Ron Paul people going back and forth with Mitt Romney people. And I'm going to be honest with you because I'm a fair and intelligent man. Both of them, Ron Paul supporters and Mitt Romney supporters, look like children. Both, I will say this, Paul's people are very well informed and were stating facts. I mean, there were things about Ron Paul being said that Okay, a man like Mitt Romney wants to defend our country, but yet someone who wants to legalize drugs, sell crack cocaine to children, and allow homosexuals to molest our younger children is a man of principle. I want you to just think about that statement. Ron Paul does not want to sell crack to your children, you fucking morons. Ron Paul does not want homosexuals to attack your young boys. That in itself is a stupid comment. Um, I don't know what else to say to stuff like that. I mean, it literally just looks ridiculous. Um, and I wish people would grow up and do it correctly. Um, you know, it's not over till it's over. I sent a lot of support to my delegates, words of encouragement, and I'm doing that here. I tell you not to give up. Um, I tell you not to give up for a number of reasons, and one of those reasons is being that it's not over. There are still hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of delegates not seated yet, and primaries are not what makes your nominee. In the past, it has because it's usually been so overwhelming. The point is that it's not overwhelming here. It's overwhelming on the popular vote side. I'll give you that, but it's not overwhelming on the delegate side. It's very close, actually. So nobody will know what happens till it goes to Tampa. And I watched some other things on YouTube today about people saying, well, once your boy doesn't get the nomination, will you follow your Republicans? And I do like, I'm sure most of you have seen, it's gotten pretty big. I like the video response somebody put to that. And I have to agree with that. Um, I am proud to lose because I will, just like that person said, not be a lamb going to the slaughter if the ones who win don't support the very foundations of our country, and that is constitutional beliefs. If neither side does that, then I am more proud to be a part of the losing team. People tell me that a lot. I get a lot of conversation, a lot. I've never been approached negatively about Ron Paul in public because I do wear a lot of Ron Paul stuff from time to time. Especially when I'm doing political stuff. And actually, the number one thing I hear is, he's a really good guy and I like him. I agree with most of what he says, but he'll never win. That's the main thing I get. And I don't know. I've lost my train of thought, like I said from the beginning and all this. I don't script my videos, but uh, oh, I know what I was saying. So he'll never win. Well, if that's how you vote, then I think you're doing yourself and your country injustice because I don't vote for who's going to win. I vote for the person that I believe is right for our country. It's always how I vote it. I'm not going to vote for somebody because they're going to win or not win. Um, and I will, if I make it to Tampa, wherever, I will continue to support Ron Paul. And come the general, if Ron Paul doesn't get the nomination, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I can promise you it won't be Obama or Romney. I'll have to research third-party candidates. I tell you this as a Republican because I am a Republican. I will not vote for Mitt Romney. He is not a Republican. Is not, is not, is not, is not. I don't, if you're a Romney supporter, great. He is not a Republican. He is a Democrat. I don't even know how he's going to debate Obama because they agree more than they disagree. And so he will not get my vote. So to answer the big question now, if Ron Paul doesn't make it, will Ron Paul people vote for Romney? Will they follow the leader and get behind the Republican nominee? I probably cannot this time. I will probably have to vote for Gary Johnson. He's a libertarian candidate. Yes, I know he's not going to win. And I even saw a clip with Penn, and Hannity telling him, well, isn't that a half a vote for Obama? Well, no, because, and he was very right in saying this, when you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're always voting for more evil. And my very first video I think I made when this campaign started was me saying that very thing, is that I will not vote for the lesser of the two evils this year. I will not do that. I will not do that as a delegate. I will not do that as a person. I am with Ron Paul all the way, and then come November, whoever's names are there, I'm not voting for Romney or Obama. So I'll have to research my third party. It will more than likely be Gary Johnson because I am more of a libertarian than a Republican in my thought process, uh, although I belong to the Republican Party. So I just wanted to share this video with you guys. I wanted you to keep your heads up if you're Paul supporters. Keep fighting at your state conventions. If your state conventions are done and you've pushed Ron Paul people onto Tampa, good job. Good job, Massachusetts, for doing that. Our convention's not till next week. I may give you a little update on that once we find out what it is, so I can see how many are being pushed from here in Texas, because we have a lot of delegates. I'd like to see how many Ron Paul people are pushed forward. And we'll just play it that way. I'm not going to give you any grand illusions of him triumphing and this just, because it may not happen that way. It more than likely can, but it won't. But we'll just see how the delegate count goes, because that is how you win, guys and girls, by delegates. Anyway, it had been a while. Just wanted to check in with you guys. Normally I'm not as, I'm not as excited this time. There's my phone ringing. I'm not as excited and pumped up this time. I'm really, really worn out because, like I said, our primary was yesterday, and I had so many meetings to go to and committees and Ron Paul group functions, and there was just a lot. So I'm tired. But I will be back into the swing of things here in a few. Well, actually, I think it's next weekend. No, weekend after. No, it's next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. I'll be in Fort Worth at our state convention. And I'll give you guys a heads up after that. Anyway, take care. Always vote for your liberty-minded candidates. Keep that in mind. And until next time.